I think it's safe to say in the modern day, Christopher Ward is the premier British watch brand. Whether it's the insane Belcanto, their 12X, or their C60 and C63 ranges, they are constantly outdoing their Swiss counterparts at the same price range. Their latest GMT release is no different. Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. I am once again today featuring one of my favourite watchmakers, Christopher Ward. Today they have announced their new C60 Trident Pro GMT, building on one of their most long-standing ranges and probably the go-to for Christopher Ward travel enthusiasts. The website is linked below and these pieces are available from August the 1st. Let's get into it. The C60 Trident Pro was released back in 2010 and we've seen plenty of iterations of it. However, the one that I'm featuring today I think has the most Christopher Ward DNA that I have seen. This GMT comes in a very recognisable 316L stainless steel casing with incredible levels of finishing and refinement that really bring it into that skin diver type of realm. They give it an illusion of a much thinner casing using high levels of chamfered angles and high polish finishing. The case's angles definitely deceive the eye in the best type of way, and the finishing really brings it onto a more sophisticated level. The crown guards almost embed the screw down crown. It's built with a really good level of grip and it is signed with the Christopher Ward logo exactly as we would expect. The bezel comes in two sections. The inner section is fixed and it has black hour markings throughout it. The outer section is a 120 click rotating bezel. The insert on this piece is finished with a texture that almost gives it a little bit of a glimmer to the eye, and the 24-hour GMT markings throughout it are high polish to accent. The coin edge to this bezel is definitely more slight than other models, but it is very easy to get a hold of and use, making it a really functional piece. I think it's time we talk about the dimensions. In diameter it is 40 millimeters, 11.9 millimeters thick. Lug to lug curves to a fantastic 47.2 millimeters, and these lugs fit a 20 millimeter band. We know Christopher Ward pride themselves on using Swiss caliber movements. This one in particular is fitted with the SW330, packing an impressive 56-hour power reserve, a high beat sweep, GMT function, and date complication. The movement is decorated by a custom Christopher Ward rotor. The display caseback shows a lot of this watch's impressive nature. It is also screwed down with the usual specifications around the outer edge and grip points that I've only actually seen on Christopher Ward up to now. The watch overall holds a 300 meter water resistance rating, making it ideal for any water-based activities. The sapphire crystal fitted to this piece has AR coating to ensure high levels of visibility in any lighting conditions. It also sits slightly above the casing, which for me is definitely a more premium effect as it tops that bezel. The other variants in this release offer a ceramic bezel insert with day-night colour splits. We have a white and a blue dial. Personally, I think that white dial is an absolute beauty. It definitely has a look of a Grand Seiko GMT diver, which definitely isn't a bad comparison to be made. The real selling point and point of attraction to this variant is definitely the dial. The colour in this dial is almost a reverse fume effect, a bright off-white in the centre which fades into a really nice teal colour. To the naked eye, this dial could seem quite plain, but it does have a really light texture to it, which accents the really refined indices brilliantly. The 5-piece Christopher Ward flag is applied to the 12 o'clock position. It is heavily brushed and that again accents the rest of the dial really well. It also to me shows the levels that Christopher Ward are capable of. The indices are applied to the dial. They are also angled at the tips towards the dial, which I think gives it a much more sophisticated look than a lot of other tool-like divers on the market. Each indice is high polish and it is finished with a center of super luminova. At the 6 o'clock we can see the date window, which is color matched to the dial, something that I really do enjoy, but I would have been really disappointed without. As well as that color matching, it is central, which definitely gives a more balanced look to the dial overall. Either side of that 6 o'clock indice is the ever sought after Swiss made print. I feel like every time that I get hands on with a Christopher Ward, the level of detail to the finish of the handset has heightened slightly. The sword and arrowhead handset that has become synonymous with Christopher Ward is brilliantly finished. We have both brushed and polished sectors to the handset, which are ever so slight, yet bring such a level of quality to the eye. Obviously, these are loomed in the center. We have the arrowhead second hand sweeping around the dial with that brilliant trident counterbalance to it. The GMT hand on this piece really does spark a little bit of enjoyment for me, and that's because they've used such a bright yellow in that arrowhead. Something that I say about a lot of high-end brands is they are very afraid to use splashes of colour. That is not the case with Christopher Ward, and they've done it really well. This bright yellow definitely flows well with the teal dial. Let's have a look at the lume signature on this piece. As you can see, the top grade C1 Super Luminova Christopher Ward are using in this piece is definitely doing its job. Now, I do wish that they'd have maybe used a different colour lume for the GMT hand just to distinguish it. Otherwise, I think that lume shot's pretty perfect. Everything down to the second hand is well loomed. It's well spread, well applied. I can have no real complaints apart from maybe a few little tricks that they could have used. This one's a solid 8.5 out of 10. If it had a different coloured GMT hand, then I'd definitely be giving this a 10. Now, this watch will be available in multiple band and bracelet options. The one I've been sent has the classic Freelink Bada bracelet on it. This option would set you back £1,150. There is also a FKM rubber yellow band, which I think accents the watch perfectly and would make a perfect summer fit. You can pick that one up for $995. The most up-to-date bracelet option for this is the jewelry-like consort bracelet with a butterfly clasp. That one comes in at £1,185. I think this is the first time I'll ever say this, and probably the only time I'll ever say this, but I'd probably opt for the rubber band. It just accents the piece perfectly with this style option. The Bada bracelet is brushed throughout, and it offers half link sizes to get a better fit to wrist. It also comes with 10mm of adjustment on the clasp. That is an on-the-fly adjustment, and it fits into this much longer profile clasp. That clasp has double pushes, it's fully brushed throughout, has a chamfered edge, and obviously the Christopher Ward logo is etched into it. Let's have a look at this one on wrist. As you can see, the 40mm case profile definitely does suit my wrist. The bracelet fits rather comfortably. I do wish that that clasp was a little bit shorter. It's a very long profile. I do hope that Christopher Ward forgive me for the desk marks that I've left on there. It's been a really enjoyable wear and definitely fits that sports watch type of feeling for me. So many nice little touches to the dial. I really have enjoyed it. I think we'll all agree, this is a brilliant watch. Exactly what we've come to expect from Christopher Ward now. However, I do have a couple of notes where I think it could be improved. Firstly, on this iteration, the bezel doesn't pop enough for me. Yes, on the ceramic versions, I think it's fantastic, but this steel version, I feel like they needed a little bit extra. Personally, I think if the GMT numerals were coated in a black, like the inner section of the bezel, it would really accent the bezel much more and give a better look overall. I know some people will be a fan of this all stainless steel effect, and I am a fan of it. I just feel like it needs that little extra touch. Secondly, as I alluded to previously, the clasp is much longer than a lot of other watches that I've seen. It pretty much encompasses the lower section of my wrist. As well as that, I have found on occasions that the quick adjustment is a little bit stiff. Now, obviously the idea of that is to get the perfect fit and obviously for it to be quick, but I find myself fiddling around with it, trying to actually get it to actuate. And I feel like with that type of feature, it needs to be much more slick in operation. Those are my 2 cents, as you'd say. This watch is fantastic. That's what we see over and over from Christopher Ward, as I've said in the past, and for around the £1,000 mark, it is an incredible deal when you look at comparisons on the market. CW have become an expert in watchmaking. The brand has grown exponentially, and I say this every time I see them. I can't wait to see what's next. Thanks for watching today, guys. What do you think about this latest C60 Trident Pro? Another hit for Christopher Ward, or does it not make the mark for you? I love it, but I'd also love to know what you think. They're linked in the description. They will be released from August 1st. If you're interested, make sure you go and sign up to the newsletter. As well as that, subscribe to the channel for more watch content, and I'll see you in the next one.